Hey everybody, welcome to our downtown studios. This is Fight News Now. I am John Ramdeen. He is Robin Black. We're talking about some of the big topics in mixed martial arts. I think we have to talk about your buddy Joe Rogan, who I think a lot of people were concerned that he would not stay with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Of course, the big news, maybe the biggest news in mixed martial arts, the once owned Zuffa-owned promotion, Dana White and the Fertitta brothers, they unloaded the UFC for $4 billion, and people thought that maybe Joe Rogan would bail from the company, recently re-signing a one-year contract. What do you think the future holds for Joe Rogan with the promotion?
Well, I hope it's more than 1 year. It's at least 1 year, He said. And I'm biased. Joe is one of my very favorite people in the world. I do breakdowns for the UFC now because he called Dana White and said, Dana, you should have this guy do that. So I owe Joe a lot, and I drink out of my Joe Rogan cup, and I'm a huge fan of him as a dude. So I am hugely, hugely biased. But I also truly believe that of all the people walking the earth, he may be the one guy who has taught the most people the most information about the art of fighting. So even if I didn't know him personally, as an enormous fan of fighting, to me, that would be an incredible thing. That's an incredible, incredible accomplishment. When we talk about fighting now, when regular people talk about fighting, they use many Joe Roganisms without even knowing it, that he's taught. So I'm glad that this guy, it would not be the same to watch a pay-per-view without Joe Rogan. Like I said, I'm immensely biased, but I'm very thrilled that I heard.
And I think, when you think of Joe Rogan, you think about everything he's brought to the game, and it feels like he's elevated mixed martial arts broadcasting. And because of Joe Rogan, you see Brian Stan killing it and Dominic Cruz killing it. And I think that just will be the future of mixed martial arts analysis, because a guy like Joe Rogan, who wasn't just a guy. He decided, because he was a decorated, lifelong martial artist, Taekwondo champion, and then tested the waters of jiu-jitsu and no-gi grappling, he found his love for not just a single art, but a whole bunch of arts, and he brought that to the masses.
Yeah, and Joe's a really humble dude, and he'll be, oddly, for one human being, he'll be remembered for a ton of things, for comedy and his podcast and all kinds of stuff. But he should really take a lot of pride. And if he stops and thinks about it, and I don't know if he does, he's always thinking about the present and tomorrow, but if he thinks about it, that gift to give people that much knowledge about the martial arts, something that beautiful, and he's shared more about fighting than anybody probably in history. And for that we owe Joe Rogan, and for that we're very happy we get another year of him at least.
How important is it that he is passionate about what he's doing? We know that this is a guy that travels the world doing his comedy. He has his podcast. He has so many other interests. He has a family. Is this something that he still enjoys doing, going to the pay-per-views, hanging out with Goldberg and talking about fighting when he's got so much else going on?
So Dana White, we have noticed over the years, is an incredibly loyal guy to people who helped build the thing. Right? Whether Matt Hughes or Forrest Griffin, Chuck Liddell, he's incredibly loyal to those people. And he thinks, you just can see, he understands how much Joe has added to the Ultimate Fighting Championship, how much he's added to mixed martial arts.
Credibility.
Totally. And he's been the best at it for this long. So, and I've not spoken with Joe about this personally, but my guess would be Dana would say, Joe, what do you need? What do you need to keep doing this? And now Joe can go and do the biggest shows, which is where he belongs, and not have to travel to Brazil and not have to travel to Europe, just do the biggest, most important shows. And in a weird kind of way, it'll be a little more special. The pay-per-views will be a little more special when Joe's only doing those.
We got to talk about the numbers. Recently, the UFC on Fox went down. Holly Holm, Valentina Shevchenko in the main event. A lot of people are concerned, well, what type of numbers are we going to see? The highest rated numbers they've had since the beginning of the year. And I was kind of surprised initially, but then you start talking to people that consume combat sports, and they really did love this fight. I talked to my buddy Charles, who is a boxing fan, converted mixed martial arts fan, and again, this was a fight that didn't have sustained action throughout the time. It wasn't as if these two ladies were smashing each other. There was strategy, there was complexities, there was simplicities going on, and I think this really appealed to every single type of fight fan.
While we're talking about people learning more about fighting, by the way, Joe also killed this one. But when we're talking about people learning about fighting, there's a lot of people who at times will talk about how this fight is boring or this fight doesn't have action. there's a tension in a fight like this. There's 25 minutes of a tension, yet you can feel it. You can taste it on the end of your tongue, the tension that's in the room. And that's compelling. And I think, man, fight fans used to get a bad rap. I'm sure to some degree they still do. We all have friends and family who judge us because our sport has people punching each other in the face. Theirs has a curved ball. But, you know, fight fans are becoming so much more educated all the time right now. They really are. There are people analyzing it on a different level. There's people sharing martial arts on a different level. There's people training martial arts on a different level. We talk about the median level of, say, takedown defense has raised. The median level of understanding fighting has been raising dramatically and exponentially.
When are we going to get to the stage? Because you and I were in Ottawa to see the UFC's debut in the nation's capital. In the main event, you and I believe that we are witnessing that incredibly beautiful fight between Stephen Thompson and Rory MacDonald. However, I think when most people left that venue, that's not the fight that stuck with them. It was the blood and guts fight between O'Connell and Steve Bosse that people will remember. However, you expose that to the masses, and you can understand why it may not be palatable to everybody.
That particular fight, those same people who judge us because their ball sport is less violent, they think, than ours, will judge that fight for sure. But it's a beautiful, wonderful fight, a fight like that, because you can feel the visceral energy, you can feel the desire of both men to overwhelm the other, neither one giving up until the fight is over. So you can feel that fight. But there was so much tension in that fight with Wonder Boy and Rory as well. That tension, can he get in there? Can he do it? He needs to do it. He's getting beat up, but he's still pushing. He's still going. He's trying to grab the leg. He's trying to push in. Once you understand the tension of the hot zone, of how dangerous it is to get close to Wonder Boy, and he had the heart to keep doing it with a shattered nose, you feel that.
I guess it was the same thing when we saw the co-main event of the Holly Holm-Shevchenko fight with Gilbert Melendez and Edson Barboza, that Gilbert Melendez just kept trying to find his way here in, constantly going into dangerous waters where Barboza was damaging his body and his legs. But you felt that tension that maybe Gil Melendez will be able to get there.
And our understanding of this, let's take us right back to the start talking about my buddy Joe. And our understanding of these things is enriched by watching this guy talk about fighting for so long. We understand it now, and we can draw inspiration from it. So, Joe, I'm glad to hear you're still there for a year.
Tremendous mixed martial arts action still to come. Tune into FN this Thursday at 7 p.m. as we present a 1-hour preview show leading into all the action going down in Atlanta, Georgia. It will be headlined by the UFC welterweight title fight between the champion Robbie Lawler and the challenger Tyron Woodley.